here's a question for you. Is marriage overrated?
Why aren't people getting married anymore?
A new Pew Research poll found that 2 in 5 young adults think marriage is an outdated tradition.
Marriage rates are at their lowest right now.
Is marriage really even worth it?
More than half of marriages end in divorce.
If you get married, you have to be stuck with this person for the rest of your life, right? That's why you get married. So that's why it's declining. Why would you get married if you want to have just one partner when you can have multiple?
Marriage is stupid.
Welcome to the Married AF podcast, the self-proclaimed greatest marriage and relationship podcast in the world. We are your hosts, Matthew and Monica Powers, and we've done this a lot lately. But before we get going, we have to give that warning that if you are listening to this with any young children, with people you don't want to possibly be embarrassed by, anyone who may hear this and frown upon you, we're going to be talking heavily on the subject of sex today. So,
let's talk about sex, baby.
Sing it, baby. You got some Barry White to go in the background. Get people in the mood. Light the candles. Listen to it low. But we would not recommend.
I don't want them to listen to us when they do it.
That'd be very,
gross.
Very weird. It'd be like the Netflix theory that, you know, everyone has sex while they watch Netflix because they just saw it on the TV. And
well, think about it.
Here's a
There'd be a lot of people listening to the Married AF podcast if they were just listening to it while they're doing it, because there's a lot of people doing it in the world.
A lot of people doing it in the world. Absolutely. They need to make sure they're doing it the right way. Fun fact.
Okay.
It is believed that people have sex to The Office more than any other show out there because it was on Netflix for so long. And that was the go-to. Throw it on The Office and then bam, they get busy. So Michael Scott's doing it for somebody. What are you going to say? Anyways, back to what I was talking about. Don't listen to this around anyone that you may be embarrassed by. Don't turn up the volume at work, or maybe do if you have that type of workplace. Listen to this with your spouse.
Please.
Turn this up with your husband. Ladies, grab your man and say, hey, you and I are listening to this now. And I promise he'll be rewarded for it. Possibly. Maybe. We'll see. Hopefully we'll give some insight. But the reason we're talking about sex is because it is such an important topic. Something people struggle so much to talk about. Something people are embarrassed by. Something we think about almost more than anything else. At least most people do.
Especially men.
But we're afraid to talk about it. And, you know, when we talk about sex and the way it's viewed biblically, a lot of us will always like to talk about what you shouldn't do. You know, no sex outside of marriage. You have to be married first. And it's got to be this. And that's always drilled into people's heads, which is very valid.
Which
it's very
makes
true.
sex so desirable.
Yes, and
it's like underage drinking. You want to drink before you get to be 21.
It's almost that, you know, that I want it more because I've been told I can't have it. Exactly. It's like that red button that you're not supposed to push, and you just want to push it so bad.
It just makes me think of Monsters in the university one.
I want to touch him. Yep, I'm going to touch them. Exactly. And that's what we do.
You
it's
do
like,
not want to touch those.
Well, it's like, why are they keeping me from this? It must be, and it's freaking mind-blowing and amazing. And you should, if you're married, you should be having sex, and a lot of it, and really, really good sex. So, you know, we've talked about.
I hope there's no bad sex being had.
I guarantee there is, okay? And we're here to try and change that. But biblically, it's always been if you're not married, you don't need to have sex. And that's really what's driven home. And we've talked about it, and it's true, and it's needed because God designed it in a certain way. And we have all these issues in this world today. And if we just did things the way God designed it from the get-go, we'd be okay. Things wouldn't be as haywire and crazy as they are, but they are. But one thing people don't talk about is, okay, I am married, and we do have sex. It sucks. He's freaking terrible. She's awful. She won't do anything. Missionary is all that we got. And what am I allowed to do? You know, how far can we push the envelope? You know, can we try different positions? Are toys allowed? Can we do this? Or can we do this certain thing? What is allowed and what is not allowed if I want to live a biblical marriage and have sex according to the way God designed it? That's what this is here for today, because there's some confusion and people are having sex. And they need to, and it's something that dominates our minds. And if you're not, you need to. Your life will be a little bit better if you do. Here's some reasons why. Not just because you'll be a lot happier. You'll get that urge out of you if you do it more than once every 6 months.
What?
Benefits of sex.
People are only having sex once every 6 months?
Oh, baby, yes. I know your mind is blown. People have sex maybe once a year. People don't have sex for years at a time.
I feel like I'm so naive and just oblivious to things.
Well, and there's
I'm not sheltered by any means.
Well, let's go ahead and throw this out there because there is a misconception. Well, okay, so we're married, we have sex. How often are we supposed to do it? What's it supposed to be like? How long is it supposed to last? We've talked about that. There is no finite answer as far as how many times you need to do it. The average shows about once a week. You know, with all the studies and the people who have done it show about once a week is typically average. Now, again, this is between you and your spouse. If you and your spouse are aligned and saying, no, we don't need it once a week, it's once every 2 weeks, that's fine.
As long as all parties involved are...
If you're aligned.
Yeah.
If both spouses say, now, if the wife says, no, I need it. It's like the person we talked about a few weeks ago where the man says, I can't keep up with my wife. She wants to have sex constantly. If you're in that and she wants it 3-4 times a day and you're good with once a week, buddy, you got to figure something out. Y'all need to figure it out. But you need to be aligned in what you're doing. You both have to be on the same page.
Come at me and tell me we're having sex once every 6 months.
There'd be a problem. You come at me and say that too. We're going to have problems. All right. But on average, it's about
once every 2 weeks at that.
That's going to be a problem.
A big problem.
Listen, once a week is about the average.
I like seeing you naked.
Yeah. I like seeing you naked. It's one of the beauties about being married. You know, all this.
That's why I married you, so I can see you naked anytime I wanted
Anytime I want to. It's one of the benefits of marriage. And actually, the Bible talks about that too. Let's just go ahead and get in there real quick. If you go to 1 Corinthians, and like you don't have to like find your Bible or go to the Bible app and do that. But, you know, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and 7, a lot of sex going on there. But here's the reason why you say that. I want to see you naked anytime I want to. Bible even talks about that.
Tell me what it says.
In 1 Corinthians chapter 7. And let me get it here so people can actually hear what I'm saying here. And it starts in let's say verse 3. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. Do not deprive each other. Don't deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. Now, this is going to hurt a lot of feelings. Mm-hmm. This is going to piss a lot of women off, especially. My body, my choice.
Right. This is just the wording is people have a problem with it.
And what this is simply saying is, going back to the beginning, two are becoming one. So when you get married, women, your body, it's your husband's. Men, your body, it's your wife's. It's still yours. You have a lot of say-so in it, but it also belongs to your spouse. Mm-hmm. And they are to use that, and you should use it together to be able to fulfill each other sexually.
I say it all the time, out loud. I don't care who hears. If you're not around and I am looking for you, where is my sexy husband?
I've heard you say that sometimes.
When I'm looking for you.
And I'm like, yes.
But
got it.
If I'm looking for you and I don't get to say it out loud, I'll say it in my head, and I find you, yeah, that's mine. All mine.
And I love that.
It's why you wore that backwards hat today, isn't it?
That's a little tight shirt on the arms. Because I know what may get you going just a little bit. You know, maybe rewards are reaped from this later. I don't know. But yes, you should have that feeling about your spouse, like all this, because I feel the same way. I'm like, oh my God, there she is. Like, look at her. She's got the heels on. She's got her hair did today. Come on. She's just, she is my wife. And I get to do whatever I'd like to with her later. And there's that mindset. Now, when it comes to what's okay in the marriage, because you need to be having sex and you need to figure out what works for you, there are great health benefits to it. Just rattle them off real quick. Lower blood pressure, better immune system, better heart health, lower risk for heart disease, improved self-esteem, decreased depression and anxiety, increased libido, of course, immediate and natural pain relief, better sleep, increased intimacy and closeness to a sexual partner, overall stress reduction, both psychologically and emotionally. Sex has great benefits outside of just getting off and feeling good for a minute.
It gives you endorphins, and endorphins make you happy, and happy people just don't shoot their husbands.
It can be a form of exercise.
It's a medicine.
It absolutely is.
Because if everything you just listed on this sex gets rid of, everything on the antidepressant pills, the side effects are all of those things. But if sex is getting rid of all of those things, why are we popping pills and not humping each other?
Now, I like your thought process. Now, listen, not saying the sex is going to rid everything of all that, but it's definitely going to assist. And all the things that we put in our body matter and play a part in that whole mental health and psychological health. What we eat, what we drink, the things we put in our body, the vitamins, the supplements, the pills, all matter. So why not put in your body what God intended for a married couple? So inside the marriage, having sex, it's so important. You need to make sure you're doing it. You need to have conversations about it. But it is thought, okay, what's not okay? And we've been hard and fast on the stance that you are to never do anything that will physically harm you, especially physically harm your spouse. Don't ever bring anyone else into the bedroom. Now, let's start there. Bringing people into the bedroom. Swinging, wife swap, all that is very popular. We
do not have a pineapple outside our door, if anybody's wondering.
No, listen, we got pineapple on pizza. We do
pineapple
that.
On the pizza.
I like some pineapple on a burger every now and again. I'll eat pineapple, but no, there's no pineapples hanging outside. We are not welcoming anyone into what we have.
And we have been asked so many times in the past. People think we're swingers.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Because you get off this sexy man pheromone when you see me, and it draws me to you, and then we're just very open with our
and
PDA.
Maybe that's some of it. Is we're
I'm not gonna not kiss my husband.
We're not shy about talking about it, and you're exactly right. And when it comes to sex,
you walk by and just slap my butt, and I'm like, hey.
Not to jump ahead or to backtrack at all, but having sex and what leads up to it is so important. It's not just it's 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. It's go time. You got me for 30 minutes and I'm going to go back to scrolling or go back to watching the game or this or that. But the things that lead up to that, I'm going to grab you and I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to kiss you. I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to rub your leg. All those things matter. It's just giving, we just have this attraction to each other that is so deep, and it's hard to keep our hands off each other. That's a great and positive thing. Now, you're not going to, dry hump each other in the middle of a public place and make out with each other. That's probably a little inappropriate.
Anymore.
No, not going to do that. But yeah,
we don't want our children to see.
No, we're not going to do that. And so, yes, bringing someone else in, having a threesome, bringing other people in, not healthy, not good, not going to happen at all. The Bible talks about that, to not bring anyone else in.
There used to be polygamy.
Yes, and that still goes on.
It does, and it's.
But and here's the thing about polygamy, and I'll let you jump into your thought. Yeah, you see it throughout the Bible.
Yes.
And men had multiple wives. They had concubines. I mean, they were hooking up all over the place. And when we read about the people in the Bible, there's this misconception that, Moses and Abraham and David and all of these people were, they're men of God and they're perfect and they were the way to go. And that every single one of these people in the Bible were so jacked up, with the exception of Jesus. He was the only one that was perfect. And guess what? He was not married. He didn't have a woman. He lived a perfect and sinless life. Everyone else, they were jacked up and they were doing it wrong. But it's only because of the grace and the mercy of the God that they were able to make it through and be who we've all know them to be now. But you were saying polygamy.
This might be frowned upon by some people, but everybody's got opinions, and my dad always told me everybody's got opinions like they have buttholes and they all stink.
At times, yeah.
So, I think polygamy is gross. Like, you see the sister wives kind of thing.
It's so weird.
what made you fall into that trap? I understand if you're born into it, but if you are listening to this and you are if you're polyamorous, is wrong.
It is.
I mean, Breaking Benjamin wrote a song about it.
They did.
Their
But
polyamorous friend
you go to the
got him in
beginning.
trouble again.
And it will get you in trouble.
It will get you in trouble.
Like, you can't have multiple partners.
No.
You can't. You
but
can't.
like we talked about before, you cannot separate feelings from sex.
No, you can't. And if you bring someone else into the bedroom, it's going to
Become a
completely change
major
things.
problem.
Someone is going to get feelings for someone else. And it's not the way it was designed. God from the beginning, man and woman, man and wife. These are the two. They're the ones. Be fruitful. Multiply means get it on.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it was designed. Now, talking about bringing people into the bedroom, another thing that's talked about is porn. That's another version of bringing someone else into the bedroom.
Because they're not real.
They're not real. It's all fake. It's for your entertainment. It's for your pleasure. It's not real. And what happens with porn is it will completely, you begin to catch the feelings for the porn, and it begins to alter what is real, and you begin to act on things that are not good, and it's not real, and it can take you down a real deep, dark path.
And the only way you can get those is if you pay a prostitute, because a wife is not going to do those things.
No.
And those people are in so much pain. Please watch some kind of porn documentary on the behind the scenes stuff, how these people are in so much pain.
It's terrible. So porn is a huge no-no. Like, even if you're married and it's part of your sexual routine, if it's on your sex menu, you need to get that off real quick, because it's not going to end well. It's going to create this alternate reality that is not real, that cannot be sustained. And it's the same as bringing another human being into the bedroom. So porn's got to go. It's not part of it. You can't do it. That kind of falls into our category of the harm, but that's someone else into the bedroom. So what else is okay? What is not okay? Another hot topic is, well, what about different types of positions?
Why is that?
I don't know. A lot of people think missionary is it.
Why?
And that's all
Because
you can
John
do.
Smith said so in the Book of Mormon?
Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith.
And
I mean, seriously.
Salt Lake City.
Orlando.
But they
Seriously. Is that something that I've missed in the Bible, saying you can only have the man in this position because that's the only way to do it?
Listen, there's no real specification in the Bible, and my thought is when we kind of read through the Bible and we're looking for that biblical direction and to be able to be led, if the Bible's not specific on it and doesn't talk about it, then it can be kind of open-handed. And sex menu. Go back to that.
Right.
You know, if it works, if it feels good, if it's doing it, if both of you are all about it, go nuts. Have some fun. Experiment. Decide what works, decide what doesn't work. Because there are different ways for different people. People like different things.
Feet.
And what's that?
Feet.
They do. And hey, I mean, that's okay.
Elbows,
Go
Ears.
nuts. And you know what's funny about that? Songs of Solomon. Listen, that's
I know. That's where I have
I've been
open.
kind of reading through that as we got to this, but I mean, he kind of even goes through head to toe. In chapter 7, he starts with the feet.
I literally have 7 open.
How beautiful your sandaled feet. How graceful your legs are like jewels. Your navel is a rounded goblet. Your waist is a mound of wheat. Your breasts are like 2 fawns. Your neck is like an ivory tower. Your eyes are like pools of Heshbon. He's labeling every part of the body from head down to the toe.
My favorite part is he says she's slender like a palm tree. Yeah, you are slender like a palm tree, and your breasts are like a cluster of its fruit. I will climb the palm tree that take hold of its fruit.
He's like, I'm going down there.
I'm getting on that, and
I'm getting on them boobs. And, Songs of Solomon, I mean, it is a lot of sex going on in here. But this is really talking about enjoying sex together as a married couple. Man, enjoy each other. Experiment with each other's bodies. Have fun with each other. It goes all back to what we've talked about before. We mentioned it many times. That sex menu is so important. It's so important. But Song of Solomon it's a reference point. You know, there's in chapter 5. I've taken off my robe. Must I put it on again? He's like, I don't know. I'm naked. Let's do this.
He pulled the naked man.
Or actually, this is her. She is saying that. Like, my robe is off.
She pulled the naked man.
Yeah, like, hey, I want this more. Like, this is okay. Mm-hmm. And we need to stop being so shameful as far as what's out there and kind of what the church culture has really said. I mean, there's some people out there who believe we should only have sex to have children.
Yes, I've heard that before.
But we can't.
God, if that's the case, you're only going to have sex to have children. And that's the only time you have sex. Man, I would get so tired of looking at my kids.
Be too many of them. But there's multiple times where he's really describing her body.
I mean, look, this is the young woman singing this. Let us go early out into the vineyards to see if the grapevines have budded, if the blossoms have opened and the pomegranates have bloomed. There I will give you all my love. So she's like, I'm taking you out to the field. And if there's some cover and ain't nobody be able to see it,
we gonna get nasty in the fields.
Let's get it on.
In chapter 1, verse 16, she says, how handsome you are, my beloved. Oh, how charming. And our bed is verdant. And verdant is like an oasis. She's saying, man, our bed is an oasis. Mm-hmm. This is amazing. It's magical. It's perfect. It's wonderful. We need to have this same type of mindset in our marriage. Mm-hmm. So, for anyone who listens, do you have this mindset? Is your bed just somewhere you sleep? Or is it something for something else? So can you try different areas? Can you explore each other's bodies? Absolutely. He's going from head all the way down to the feet. Mm-hmm. All right. If that's for you, go nuts. If that's something you want to try, talk to your spouse about it. Go nuts. All right. Couple other things. What about setting the mood? Different types of clothing. Let's just say lingerie. What are your thoughts on that?
What do you mean? What are my thoughts on it? As in,
do you think that's okay or is that not okay?
Heck yeah, it's okay. It's going to just come off in the floor anyways. What's the point? Do I need to put my robe back on?
Obviously not, because she says no.
No.
She's like, the robe is off. Do I need to put it back on so we can start this all over again? No, not going to happen at all.
Well, in my notes right here, I seriously have chapters 6 through 7. In my notes that I have written down, it says striptease.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
I mean, but it's the entire chapters. And these are from Mark Driscoll.
Yes.
Who is at Trinity Church in Arizona. And this is a conference that we went to, and he spoke, and I loved everything he had to say. And I was like, this guy's awesome. We need to tell all of our friends, have more sex.
It'll help things. I promise. It will.
But I want to say it's chapter 2 or 3. It's talking about oral sex. Mm-hmm. And then 4:16 through 5:1 is talking about oral sex. And then the chapters 6 through 7, that's the striptease. And that's when he starts with, oh, how beautiful are the sandals on your feet. Oh, okay. Well, let me take them off. You want to look at my feet some more? You know? That's,
exactly.
Your rounded thighs are like jewels. They are. They work the work of a skilled craftsman. Your navel is perfectly formed, like the goblet filled with the mixed wine. Between your thighs lies a mound of wheat, bordered with lilies. Man, she got a bush. That's all that tells me. You know?
That is true. That is true. They may not have really taken care of and then manicured those areas.
They didn't know how to manscape.
But you know what? They didn't care.
Or
didn't matter.
No. Your breasts are like twin fawns of a gazelle. Your neck is as beautiful as an ivory tower. Your eyes are like the sparkling pools of some pool. And Your nose is fine tower of Lebanon. Your head is majestic as the mount. Is it? My eyes are. I don't have my magnifying glass. I'm
Your
sorry.
eyes are struggling.
I am so blind. Where is my magnifying glass?
That I don't know.
The sheen of your hair radiates royalty. The king is held captive by your... No. But anyways. Oh, how beautiful you are. How pleasing, my love. How full of delight. You are slender like a palm tree. You know, he wants to ride that tree.
Well, and even
And then it goes down. This is her saying this. Yes, wine goes down smoothly for my lover.
exactly. Well, and even in chapter 2,
Flowing gently over lips and teeth.
even talks about, and his fruit was sweet to my taste.
Yes, that's
So he's talking. They're talking real quick
magnifying
here.
glass.
They're talking about oral sex, and that's what they're talking about. Saying, "Hey, this is okay. It's sweet. This fruit is so sweet."
Which was another one. She was just so super excited about getting to have sex with him. For love is as strong as death. It's jealousy. Enduring as the grave. Love flashes like fire and burn, and the brightness. Love flashes like fire, the brightest kind of flame. Many waters cannot quench love, nor can rivers drown it. If a man tried to buy love with all its wealth, his offer would be utterly scorned. This woman is saying, I am not for sale. I am nobody else's. And everything I'm getting from my man is good. And there is no reason to take money from some other dummy to see if it works that way.
No, and essentially all of this and the importance of every bit of this, the striptease, the oral sex side of it, what you're wearing, the different positions, all of it. You know, another thing that's talked about, what about toys? What about sex toys? Is this allowed, or certain sort of enhancements allowed, or anything? I think one of the biggest things to understand is it driven by love or is it driven by lust? Because if what you're desiring is driven by lust, then that can go down a slippery slope, and that's something that's not good. But if it's driven by love for your spouse, love for your marriage, love for your sex life, and it is something that is driving that, and I just want to so to speak, I want to get deeper with them. I want to experience more with them, and it's all for a love and a passion for them. Then really everything's on. There's nothing that's off limits, again, unless it's harming you, harming your spouse, or bringing someone else in, something that could potentially damage your love for each other, your covenant with each other, your passion for each other. Everything else is on the table. And that's where you need to be able to discuss these things, talk about it, because it's happening exclusively in your marriage. Again, this is your marriage, nobody else's marriage. So whatever works for you, make it work for you.
It's not going to work for everybody. So don't compare what you're doing in the bedroom to somebody else.
No, because everyone's sex life is different, and everyone's sex life should be different. And you know what you and I do may not be for someone else. Just may not be, and that's okay. And what they do may not be for us. That's okay. But going back to the test kitchen, and I'm bringing it all full circle to the menu. Listen, if your husband or your wife comes to you and says, I want you to hang from the ceiling like you're a trapeze artist, dressed up like a who knows what, singing this song, making this type of noise, looking like this, you know what? Give it a shot. You just don't know. You may love it. You may enjoy it. Talk about it. So sex is so important.
I found the one I was looking for the oral sex.
Give it to us.
This is the woman saying this. Awake north wind, rise up south wind, blow on my garden and spread its fragrance all around. Come into your garden, my love. Taste its finest fruits. And this is the guy. I have entered my garden, my treasure, my bride. I gather mirth with my spices and eat honeycomb with my honey. I drink wine with my milk. Oh, lover and beloved, eat and drink. Yes, drink deeply of your love.
I mean, they're throwing it down. Like, do you think this was 50 Shades of Grey level before, back in biblical days?
Yes. People want to use poetry and do all of these things. This is what it means. They want to interpret what. I want the naysayers that are saying, oh, well, you can't do those kind of things in a marriage. Missionary zit. You can't do this. You can't have sexy lingerie. You can't wear high heels, no makeup, those kind of things. I want them to show me where and why.
Where and why?
What is your interpretation of this?
Yeah, and how did you get to that point? Because my interpretation is completely different.
Right.
And what I'm reading here.
It's no different than hearing a song that a band has, and you relate to it different than I would.
Right.
That it's the same thing with sex. If you keep it in your marriage and it's not hurting you, it's not hurting your spouse, you don't have anybody else coming in, and everyone is happy and you're obeying God, why can't you have a little fun with a toy?
Again, if it's built out of love and not lust.
I just want this vibrator. I don't want my husband today.
And if it's
things like that is completely wrong.
Now that's, exactly. Exactly.
Where,
if that's taking a replacement of your spouse, that's a huge problem.
Right.
And that would almost fall into the same category as
bringing somebody else
a
in.
threesome, swingers, porn falls into the same category because it's replacing your spouse, which is not what the intention should be.
Now, we got a lot of feedback. I think it was a couple years ago, maybe a year ago, when I said, why are they masturbating?
Right.
I said, a lot of people didn't finish hearing anything I said. They were just instantly to go, blah, blah, blah. Oh, she's stupid. This poor guy, he doesn't have sex. Well, wrong. Anyways, the question of why are they masturbating is because they are right next to each other.
If your spouse is right there,
why are you not helping each other?
you should be.
Unless it's like third or fourth go around for the day and you're just wore out.
You're beat. And listen, I get things come up, things happen.
Absolutely.
One may be in the mood, you may both be in the mood, but maybe something's going on, and we have it's not a set rule, but we kind of have a 24-hour deal. Like if it's go time and one of us is thinking, hey, and for whatever reason it doesn't happen. Who knows the reason why? Things happen. Usually within the next 24 to 48 hours, it's like, hey, we're not going to let this feeling pass and these urges pass. We're going to make sure that this gets done.
Leave me in the closet.
Exactly. And lucky for
the basement door locks.
Lucky for both of us, we have that same level where we want it the same.
All the time.
We want it multiple times a week and not every month.
That's why I asked once every 6 months.
It happens. But we're on the same wavelength as far as quantity, but the quality is where it's at.
Quality is way better than quantity.
Yeah, and don't think that, okay, well, we're going to do it 5 days a week.
That means nothing.
We're going to take the 7-day challenge and do it every single day. If it's not quality.
You can go snap out a 5-minute quickie. You can get a little nooner. But why waste the 3 minutes?
There are times for that.
Yeah. Just to get it off your brain for a little bit because you got to go do something else for a longer period of time.
But you need to come back to it. But
we're going to bang this out a lot later.
That needs to go to your spouse and not yourself. You don't need to lean to masturbation for that. And number one thing before we get out of here, the reason I think that happens, put your phone away. Put your phone away.
All those girls that have headaches or their stomach's hurting and they can't do this or do that. But you can lay there for an hour and a half scrolling through TikTok. Hey, watch this.
Giggling about that. Meanwhile, your husband's over there like
miserable, flipping through channels.
And it goes both ways. Men aren't immune to that. You do the same thing. But yeah, if your spouse wants it and you're like, but you spend up hours scrolling Instagram or TikTok or
Are there
whatever.
really guys that turn their wife down?
There's got to be out there, but I wouldn't think so. Not too many. Men are ready to go at the drop of a hat. We don't need a whole lot to get going. I mean, you can simply say,
Drop the robe, ladies.
well, listen, you can easily just say, hey, let's, and it's like, yeah, let's go. We can be ready like that. Ladies take a little bit more to be able to do that. So men, take note of that. But to wrap it all up, got to have some sex.
Just do it.
Have some good sex.
Not quantity.
Quality. Listen,
sex.
get some lingerie. Set the mood. Get things going.
Turn the lights off if you don't like what you look like.
Turn the lights off.
Get over yourself. Because
Be passionate throughout the day.
yes.
Every day. Grab her and kiss her. Ladies, jump on top of them. Give them a deep, passionate kiss. Watch how much more into the relationship you are. How much more in love you seem with each other. That when you lock eyes across the room, you're like, yeah, she's mine.
I like looking at you and going, mm-hmm. Do a little eyebrow action.
Yeah, because that sent the signal that, hey, you and I, after 16 years of marriage and
Being together 20.
have been together for, no, not 20. Yeah, 25 years.
Yeah.
We still have that spark as roaring as ever. Where, yeah, we look across the room at each other. It's like, oh,
That's
yeah,
mine.
she is mine. And I get to do this with her. And I get to do that with her.
you do.
And I am the one who gets to experience her, not anyone else. She's not looking to bring anyone else in. She's not giving that to anyone else. It is mine and it is ours and it is incredible. And I want everyone to be able to have that exact same feeling. So you need to chase after each other every single moment of every single day. Everything you do affects your spouse. Chase after each other. Pursue each other.
Remember the reason why you fell in love with them in the first place.
Yeah, that very first time you saw them, we're like, oh my God,
that
she
honeymoon
is
phase.
incredible. Look at her. She's still that same woman. Bring that out of her. Men, do your part.
Compliment. Words of affirmation.
Listen, if you're not slapping each other's butt when you walk by, you got those things to work on.
Just good game.
Absolutely. I promise it'll be better. We've got to get out of here, though. God, we love you. Oh, we are so thankful for what you do. We're thankful for this platform and what you're doing with it. And as always, God, just pray that it reaches the ears that needs to hear. God, you created sex. You made it from the very beginning, and you made it wonderful, and you made it between a man and a woman and a husband and a wife. And for those couples out there who hear this, who are struggling in that area, we know it's a huge struggle. And God, we just pray that they focus on what you have taught us. And if this helps anyone, God, just let them hear it, let them take it, let them use it, and let them be better for it. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Play ball.